Welcome, and welcome back to those that have watched the other videos. Today we're going to look at a campaign tool and some of the ways in which I deal with sort of common campaign problems. We're going to start maybe on that topic, and this is, we're on my forest encounter map in Roll20. And so what I've got here is a bunch of Gabriel Pickard forest maps, and if you want to grab some of his forest maps, just go to the marketplace, Roll20, search for his name, find the pack that you like. He has got an abundance of packs, and grab them for yourself. So what I've done here is I've gotten 4 different maps, and I've split them up, and I've also got this dividing line. And so each of these 4 maps, what I've done is I've put them 4 times on top of each other. And so here on the map player, if I go push to the back, what looks to be a new map, but is in reality the same map, just rotated 90 degrees. And I've done that 4 times so that I can generate new looking maps quickly and easily. 4 different maps. You could do this not all as forest maps, but I sort of break those up so that I've got maps for when we're on the road, maps when we're in the forest, maps for ocean encounters, stuff like that. And often I'll just set up the ability to just push them to the back and very quickly generate a new map for myself. So while we're looking at that, let's also just jump down here. I also have these, which are some custom tokens that I've created just to throw down auras. And so you might do your 15-foot cube. I think if I hold shift, it locks on. And so there I've got a 15-foot cube. And so I could then decide where I'm doing my Thunderwave spell from to try and capture that guy. Or I could just grab my 15-foot cube, and these blue dots, that means that the players are also allowed to see them. So if we open this up and edit it, so it can be edited by the players, and it's in the players' journals, so they have rights to that resource. And I've just used an image of a pin to put it in, and then set up an aura, being a square aura, and we can drag that on and do the same sort of thing, but a lot quicker. We don't have to draw it up. There is maybe an interesting point here if we look at a 15-foot aura. So I'm going to use Alt to place this in position, and the reason I'm doing that, if we zoom up now, kind of looks like the pin is sort of pinning into that spot right there. It's because if I, over here on this character, if I do the same thing, I say I want a 15-foot aura, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a 14.5, change that maybe to a dark green. So I've done that, just the 2 auras creates that little border for me. I just like the effect. You don't need to do that, you can do a single one. But if these are 15-foot auras, they are very different sized. And that's because this one isn't counting the square that I'm in. It's ignoring that. But that's fine for spiritual guardians, and I've just thrown down an aura, and it's pushing out 15 feet from me. But if I'm dropping some sort of spell that has a 15-foot aura, then I want it to be 15 feet, 30 feet all the way across, right? I want that 30-foot diameter. And so I have to do that slightly differently. If we open up this token, you can see I've adjusted the size. This is 15 foot, but I'm sort of discounting that square, and to try and get myself into the middle of it, taking 2.5 off. And so if I do the same over here with a 30-foot radius, and we have a look, I'm sort of taking 2.5 off. It's a slightly different. And that was, I just found, if I wanted to be right on that edge, that seems to produce a better alignment there. Hold Alt to release it. Yeah, and so you'll have to sort of adjust that for a 20, 15, however it is you're setting it up. But that's a great way to very easily allow you to drop in this spell and check. So you're like, oh, I want to do a fireball. How many people am I going to affect? And the player can move this around. It doesn't need any assistance from you. then while holding Alt, release it to make sure I get everybody, and then we can delete that away. Yeah, they can delete them away. They can also clear it. I've also got here, I talk about how I like to use this to throw down a torch so that I'm carrying it and remove it. But say they throw the torch, then there's also an asset that we can throw. So I've just used Control L there to look through the eyes of this character. And as you can see, you can't see through to the next map. So with those out of the way, let's get to what we're really here for, and it's this little beastie. And this is done with the TokenMod API. Just about everything inside here is done with that, with just two exceptions, weather and notes. I'm going to click on notes, and so that is just doing a little point to me to tell me in the day part what the day counter, and so I've just used our standard 365 days, 24-hour days. It's telling me, so if we're 196, we should be in summer. And you could obviously put whatever you want inside there as notes. It is also important to note that this is technically a character sheet, and so I can add all sorts of things here and then have those as tokens, have attacks, maybe a lightning bolt from a storm or whatever it is you're looking to do, but everything I've done has been here in the abilities. And just built up there. And so if we go to that notes one, it's very simple. I'm whispering to myself, Odin, and that's because this campaign is the rise of the humanists. Just doing the calendar reference, and the description being, and then showing off spring, summer, autumn with those days. Just so that I know as I add days, as they move forward, I could quickly check and go, okay, oh no, fine, we're still inside summer. Maybe we're getting past the normal summer, and that's what that logo is. And so I want to sort of show that it's late summer. And so I rotate the picture where you can see autumn coming and that summer was exiting. So let's have a look at what we're doing here. We'll move sort of in a reverse order and make our way to weather. So that was the notes. So the days, these are very simple. Token mod, set bar 1, value 1. And then that, so that is just setting day to 1. And we'll show that with the hours. If I move my way up the hours, see I've gone past 24 hours, which doesn't really make sense. And so I want the ability to set it to the beginning. And same with the days. After 365, I want to be back to day 1. So it's a day 1, and then there's a day -1 and a day +1. What we'll do is we'll close these down and we'll look at hours. We'll say, okay, let's grab that one. So it's the token mod, standard token mod way, set bar 2, and it's going to +1. I'm just going to add another one, and I'm going to say hours long rest. We'll chuck that in there. Right, and say, let's say hours, it's 3 in the morning and the party can finally have a long rest. We'll chuck it up there, click off, click back on, hours long rest, and it instantly adds 8 hours. Let's quickly jump back to the token itself. And so I've got days and hours, and if we scroll down here, you can see that I just added my own custom attributes there of days and hours. Gonna go past it there they were, days and hours, and that was just so I could have a drop down, and that's what it would actually stand for. You can just put them in there, you don't have to technically apply them like that. I just thought it was nice and tidy to do it. So let's close that. This is made up of a rollable table, and if we come in here, it's the season compass. So I've just inserted all of the pictures in an order, and I've sort of chosen what they are. And that's important because I can, when I come in here and I choose what season it is, say it's secretly winter, it sets it to winter and it sets it to that particular image based off of that order that we put them in. And so if we look up here at that seasons, so I'm using the drop down menu option, so I've got a question mark, set season, and then so let's click on that so we can see what that's saying. Set season name, right? And then I've got my options after those tills of summer, autumn, winter, spring. And what we're seeing here with this ampersand 24, that is HTML for a till. So if I put another till symbol in, then it would think it's another question because we're inside this drop down box, right? But I need that till after I've done a token mod set something to say that's the thing I'm setting till this is the value to apply. So that's where inside here I need to use that so it will work for the code and it won't read that till here to think that it's a different drop down box. Let's go back to summer, go submit, see, name, sets the name to summer, and then also sets the current side to 1. Then the next till option is autumn, and if you choose autumn, it's going to set the name to autumn and change the side. Right, let's now jump to our weather. So this weather is interesting. This is technically just another question, right? I start off with the name and I've got the selected token name weather, and that way because it says summer here, when I drop this into chat, when I play this, let's just go, let's click on, let's run it from here. I click this and I say summer. It says summer weather, but if I was to run that again and choose the winter table, it still says summer weather, and that's because that's the weather down there. And I'm doing that because it is outside of the question mark. Once I've put it inside here, I couldn't affect that summer weather part that's been assigned beforehand. Same with this source bit. And so here we've started our question. We choose the roll table that we're using, and it's going to be winter roll tables, and we've got the WinterWind and the WinterRain, and then an image that goes along with it, that one, and this is the summer one. And so then we've got the spring, and I've used AutumnSpringWind and AutumnSpringRain for those two seasons. So there's technically only need the threes: summer, autumn, spring, and winter. And those, if we come back here, are these. So let's look at a WinterRain. So I've got the types of rain and then the value. And I mean, you could think of this as percentages. It's not really. It doesn't have to add up to 100. You're just sort of choosing how, like to imagine is a ball like a lotto, and how many of those balls represent heavy rain, right? And it tumbles around and one comes out. There's 35 in there for heavy rain, while only 5 for dry. And if I go down to a snowstorm, 5 for that as well. So light rain's 1. Let's change that. Let's say, light rain is 5. And so that was the winter rain, but if I was to come over to AutumnSpringRain, there's a freak snowstorm and a heat wave which wasn't in the winter one. So that's a 1. That's very unlikely to happen. That's also unlikely to happen, and we're more likely to get light rain, 35, and dry under these conditions. And same will occur for summer. Then we can also go to the wind, which there is, all of them have these states: light, still, strong, extreme. Just it's more likely in winter for there to be an extreme wind or strong wind, 35, versus, let's say, SummerWind. We bring it over here and we go strong is only 2. And extreme wind 1. Yeah, those aren't likely to happen. It's summer after all. Light wind still 3. Small numbers. Let's maybe bump those up. Let's go 25. 25. We'll go for a 5. And we'll leave extreme at 1, right? It's really unlikely to happen. Right. So that is the weather. So, again, you will be able to see the code that I've used for all of this. I won't, however, supply the images that I've used. I drew this one myself. These are just ones I've grabbed off the internet to sort of pop the response when it hits the characters, so they get a little feel for it. Let's, just so that we can see that in effect, let's say that it's now winter. And so I do winter weather. Now it says winter. So once again, that's grabbing that from down there. Let's now look at travel. So this campaign is the Rise of Tiamat campaign. I paid for that, but we're using it in a slightly different flavor. But let's say we are moving from here, and so what I'm doing is I've dragged my token and I'm going to tap Q, and it's counting out the miles. And so it's 246.1 miles from Dragon Spear to Dragon's Ford. Well, it's not the best line. Let's see if we can do a better job of that. Yeah. 249. 249. So I use an Excel spreadsheet for this. I'll just bring that over. So 249. And then I choose how we're travelling. Draft horses, riding horses. Yeah, so we've got riding horses. So we're moving at 48. That will take 5.18 days to travel. And this is a simple spreadsheet. So I've got down here, I'm dividing the miles to travel by the miles per day. And these ones, walking is 30. And so this one is that one times by 10. That one is this one divided by 100. And over here we've got this one times by 8 to work out how many miles you can do in a day. And so it just copies down. Like if I was to delete those values, and you can see this zeroed all of these because they are reliant on a chain effect of what that value is. I can grab that corner and drag it down, and it's just timing the object over here by 10, and then suddenly it works for everything. You'll have to build this yourself. I can't supply this for you because I've grabbed these details right out of the player's handbook, and that's just to sort of build for yourself. That's fine to do, but I can't give away their content. Yeah, so that is a useful tool. I've been meaning to build something that I can use in play for that, but I have yet to actually do it. Something where I sort of use a drop down box and choose the animal, and then ask you how far you're traveling, and then it throws out that line for you. Right, I hope that's helped, maybe inspired you to what you could do for your own campaigns a little bit. If there's something in particular you'd like help with, just chuck it down in the comments. If you found this video useful, please click like or subscribe and stay up to date with the different tips and tricks that I share about how to run your Roll20 character or campaign. Thank you.